Hey guys, Lock O'Clock slash Lifesaver here with another video. I want to do a quick guide on Warlock, Demon Warlock for Season 3. I'm still seeing a lot of incorrect information being shared. And I want to share a couple tips too for min-maxing your damage for Season 3. Not too much has changed, but there's a couple different playstyles now with the tier as well. Uh, some people are asking when to implode, things like that. So let's get into it. I'll start kind of with our main stats, and then I'll go into our rotation and everything else, our abilities. Make things as easy as I can for new gamers and as people who are trying to min-max their damage from maybe playing Lock for a little bit of time now. So let's get right into it. These are my current stats. Haste is great. If you can get closer to like 22, 24%, that's nice. I'm finding versatility having a lot of weight now, especially because it influences the damage of our tier, which is the Eye of Inquisitor. If you look at your overall damage for a lot of these keys, Eye Blast is either going to be number one or number two, depending on the dungeon you're doing. So Mastery does not increase the damage profile of these two things. So you're going to want to go a little more heavier verse this season than you did last season. Last season you went heavy Mastery with almost no verse. Now your tier is doing 10% of your damage and doesn't get any value out of Mastery. So Mastery being still pretty high, but you can go a little bit lower and trying to get a little bit more verse. I think I was running like 6 to 7% last time. Now I'm pushing for 10 to 12, somewhere in there. So also crit is very big this season. Obviously we have the talents here, somewhere along here. Gotta find it here. Here, no. Somewhere in here we get 10% more value out of crit. So because of that, you want to go heavy crit. And the reason also is that because you're getting a lot more value for your pets because you have a lot more stat pool in Season 3. So getting heavier crit makes your big boy do more damage. You can also actually remove Immutable Hatred here and run Improved Demon Tactics. This makes it so your pet has like a 60% chance to crit. I was running this for a little bit while, now I've gone back to Immutable Hatred, simply because as you're getting the higher keys, Prio damage is really important. So while running this talent instead would probably give you 1 to 2% more damage overall, you lose about 4 or 5% on single target, and Prio damage becomes more king as you're getting the higher keys. And also, since I'm running Astral Antenna, you're getting a lot of free crit. So I'm finding myself sitting at 50-60% crit a lot of the time because of this. So it's not as important now. You already have so much crit, everything's critting all the time now, it's great. So I think going for around a 40% crit base is really powerful. Mastery, yeah, 40-50%, whatever you have, it's okay. I usually run the flaws for mastery, just get a little more boost since mine's a little bit low. And then haze between 20-24%. Uh, these can kind of fluctuate all a little bit, but this is kind of the general idea that we're looking for. A little more verse, haste between about 19-20% to maybe 22-24. Crit 35 to 40. I like going heavier crit, it just feels good. Maybe a little more biased, also because we get 10% more value out of it. Each stat weight for it has more points because you're not losing even before the DR, which is about 19,000. But anyways, get close to 40% crit if you can. Anyway, stats out of the way. All stats are generally great, especially this season for Warlock. Ideally, you're going for highest item level and you want intellect. Make sure both your trinkets have intellect on it. Okay, do not grab something that has haste and does a proc. It burns you a lot. Why? Because your tier is doing your most damage, and a lot of it's based off your intellect. So having that affected makes your eye beam do less damage. The 6% of intellect you gain from the tier gets affected if your intellect overall is lower. You want double in trinkets. I did the math for you. Just do that, please. Um, yeah, other than that, if you can get the obviously the tier boots from the raid, it's nice, but not crazy. It's like a 2.2, 2.5% more damage increase. It's basically like another embellishment, so it's nice, but it's not like the end of the world if you don't have it. And then yeah, obviously you have your 4-piece tier, yada yada. Now let's go into damage rotation. I guess I'll do a quick sum up of our abilities. Most people should know what we're doing. You have dogs here called Dreadstalkers. It's a 12-second cooldown. So you want to be using this basically every 20 seconds on cooldown. So you should get 3 dogs between each Tyrant. Tyrant's a 1-minute cooldown. You're also going to be using your Grim. And they actually listened to my recommendation from last year, which is really nice. So originally, your mark here, I guess we'd call it, or we call it Battle Fiend, but it used to be a 30-second cooldown, which was kind of punishing because if you didn't spawn it right at the 30 seconds, you'd have to hold and lose an extra Battle Fiend essentially because you have to hold a Fear Tyrant window because it did a lot of damage. Now that it's a 25-second cooldown, you still only get 2, right? It doesn't make you get an extra cast of it, But if you don't cast it right at the 30-second mark, well, now you get an extra 5-second buffer window. So now it's like, it just gives you that leeway to, if you have to move out or something, whatever the case is, you're still summoning your dog every time. So this is a good tip, is to make sure you always, when you see Tyrants come up within 25 seconds, you cast your second dog. Sometimes if you want, you can hold it a bit to use it with your normal dogs, your called Dreadstalkers. So you get the double burst at the same time. However, if you see it past 25 seconds before your Tyrant window, it's almost worth it to hold. That means you kind of messed up, you missed the dog window, a Valfine, sorry. It's okay, hold it. It's not the end of the world. But they made it a little more forgiving now for people who are trying to play the class, where now you can kind of weave it in easier. It's not as stressful trying to get this off every 30 seconds, which is nice. Other than that, all the other changes are basic minuscule. We're not remove the flame touch build. We are making it so our dogs are doing a lot of extra crit and damage. The reason we don't run this anymore is because it was very strong with our old tier, which made the greater Dreadstalker, right? We'd spawn an extra dog every time we Tyranted, and every time you use their hand of cooldown, they did a big bite. That's no longer the case, so these pieces aren't as worth it, and now you're buffing your main pet, which is why we're going into ornaments as well as buffing it up here as well. So your main pet here and here, an extra 20% damage on each, making it very strong. We have a lot more intellect also in season 3, so your main pet, as you can see, is doing a good chunk. You'll see between like 15 to 17% in keys, which is very great. Now let's go to the rotation. Maybe some people struggle with this, so let me quick work in. When you're going to a pack to start the dungeon, you're gonna wait till you have 2 of these. You should have like an imp tracker. Makes life easier for you, so you can see when this is up. As you're trying to see physically with your eyes when they're up, which is too much going under the key. So I despawn. I wait for the next one to spawn here. There's 2. I'm gonna power siphon. It's gonna take these 2. It's gonna give me 2 stacks of demon bolts, and this is how we're gonna play every time. We go into the pack. I'm going to double Shadow Bolt. I'm going to summon my Grim Daddy, summon my other Valfine. Then I summon Dogs. I was hoping for a proc. I didn't. You can actually hold for a little bit and get 2 random casts and hopefully get the free one. But I should be able to get this full stack here. They're all running perfectly. Boof. You implode right away. And the reason you're imploding here, guys, is because you get an ability called Expendables in your talent tree. And this basically gives you a lot. It gives 10% more damage to your main pets. So in AoE, you always implode right after you Tyrant. A lot of people are saying not to do it. It is incorrect. The only time you don't implode right away is on single target, right? Or maybe 2 or 3 targets you can hold. But on AoE and the key, you're imploding right away because you want to buff up your main pet before you're using Demonic Strength, which is this ability here. And so I'm going to stop here, but you can see I was doing 10 million damage on a 5-pack. Pretty wild. That's without loss, right? So you get loss, you got a 20-man pack, you're breaking 30 million. Now, how do we min-max, right? That was a pretty good representation of trying to get the 10 imps. If you want, you can fish for free dogs. So, I'll give you one more example here of what I mean by that. So, we'll wait here. We got an extra stack. That's fine. So, let's just Shadow Bolt all the way up to full. Here we go. So, I'm casting my Grim. Here, I already have free dogs. But the idea is you can kind of fish for this by doing 2 hands of Gul'dan, because every time you get hand of Gul'dan or Demon Bolt, it gives you a 20% chance to get free dogs. If you get a free dog, it guarantees you to get this 10 imp stack, which is nice. Otherwise, you're kind of hoping you can get it, but you might be stuck with like 7 or 8. Again, a little bit of a min-maxing thing, not a huge deal, but you guys get the point. A big thing also is our Demon Bolts here. So a lot of people don't realize that the reason we run this part of the tree, right, your Doom, does a lot of damage. It's uncapped AoE damage. So when you cast your Demon Bolt on a target, it puts a little debuff on them. And after a little bit, oh, am I getting hit? Oh, I have my flaming boots here. The Demon Bolt proc that you put on them, like the dot of Doom, it explodes after 20 seconds. So the damage is ticking by itself isn't that great, but it's the explosion after 20 seconds that does a lot of damage. Now this is reduced, the 20-second timer gets reduced every time you use Hand of Gul'dan by 3 seconds, right, for every shard you use. So it says every 20 seconds this explodes, but ideally it's like when you're casting Hand of Gul'dan, it takes about 10 seconds or so until they all start erupting. A big thing about this though, that people don't realize, I don't know why people aren't mentioning this, is your Doom will explode when a target dies. So while you're AoEing and you're damaging, you're looking for the weak health minion that's about to die, and you're demon bolting them. Because the second they die, you get the eruption explosion damage of doom that explodes and does a lot of AoE damage, uncapped to everyone. Hits for 500k, can crit for a million. You get 20 mobs, it's like you're looking at 10 million bursts instantly. So you're always trying to demon bolt whoever doesn't have the debuff. You're hitting the target that's about to die or get the weakest in the back because it's going to explode sooner, right, than waiting the whole 10, 12 seconds of casting a bunch of hands. It's going to go off maybe within 2, 3 seconds after you hit it because it's about to die in the pack. And that's how you get a lot of extra spread AoE damage by spreading your dooms on targets that are about to die because you get that extra explosion. Very big tip. People don't mention it. I don't know, people just don't realize that. But always be spreading it. And the way I do this also is, you can go up here, I think it is. It's Mouseover. Here we go. Yeah, Mouseover Cast right here. So I have it clicked on. So this makes it so like my Shadow Bolt, but specifically for my Demon Bolt, but also for Implosion. So this is really nice when you have this selected. So while you're doing your attacks, right, you can say like you're focusing this one target in and out, the big guy that you're focusing, it moves from the pack, and you're about to implode. Well, if you implode on the big daddy you're focusing, you're not getting implosion damage on the entire group, because maybe he shifted away from the group. But with this mouse over selected, I can just select the whole group where all the mobs are. I just mouse over it where the big pack is, and I implode there. And it'll always implode where your mouse is. This is also very, very important for your demon bolts. Instead of trying to tab target everything and trying to spread your bolts, you're going to accidentally pull a group by accident. You can get flamed by a group. It's going to be a bad time. And you're also missing a lot of time with your pet running back and forth, not knowing who to hit, and you're not hitting the Prio target. So you sit the Prio target, you spread your bolts by just mouse overing, right? I can just mouse over this guy, boom, bolt here. Mouse over this guy, boom, here. And then if I wanted to implode, I can implode on this guy, for example, and it hits the guy in the back there. So it just makes it super easy. You get a lot more value. You don't get those sad implosions when you implode one mob, and it's very depressing. I'm also thinking like Eco Dome. Don't ever try to implode those guys that charge. I've been griefed so many times with like a 20 imp implosion, and the guy dashes through, and you just hit him by himself. Very depressing, but that's why this mouse over makes it very more efficient. You get more value out of implosion, and big value out of your dooms, which is going to increase your damage quite a bit in keys if you get efficient on spreading your dooms to targets that are dying. Please do this. Other than that, the gameplay is very similar to how we played last season, right? You get 20 seconds on dogs, so you can get it 3 times. So as I'm seeing the timer, my Tyrant heal, I do it 1 minute, I Tyrant, then it'll show 40 seconds, I get another dog, 20 seconds, I get another dog, and if it's already at like 10 seconds, maybe, you know, between going through packs or something, I'll just hold a little bit and then shoot dogs out. You can kind of min-max it so you're getting 3 dogs essentially, and 2 Valfiends or Marks, whatever these dogs are called now, Marks of Fang, Mark, Mark of Frog, whatever. Vilefiend, I call it Vilefiend. But you'll get 2 Vilefiends, one with the Tyrant, one by itself, and you get 3 dogs, one of them within your Tyrant window. Please do not Tyrant without these 2 guys active, okay? If these 2 guys are not active when you're Tyranting, just wait. Wait 15 seconds, delay your Tyrant, because your Tyrant damage is going to get griefed if your dogs and especially your Char Hound is not out. It's going to hurt quite a bit. So make sure they're all up before you Tyrant. Imps aren't as important. They're very strong in single target. And when you have lots and everything going, you're going from one pack to pack, from the boss from the previous pack, you'll have 10, 15 imps anyways. It's very easy to get 10 imps, but if you only have 6 imps, and that means you need to Tyrant right now in order to get your dogs and your Char Hound, the Tyrant buff, give up the few imps. It's not as important. The damage profile overall would not be as strong. Make sure these 2 guys are up. Try to have 10 imps. If not, they're not as important. You'll be summoning them repeatedly, whatever the case is. Perfect world, you got 10 imps, you got your Grim out, you got your Char Hound out, you got your dogs out. Then you Tyrant, you get your max damage window, and then you don't implode on single target, right? You're holding your imps, they do quite a bit of damage of your single target profile. Even like with cleave bosses, where there's like 2 or 3, even like a lot of times we pull and higher keys, you're pulling a lot of trash into the boss, so the demon hunter or mage in your group gets a lot of funnel damage. Even then, honestly, unless all your imps are like at once auto attack, they're all about to die, a big bunch of them, I don't implode. Because all you're doing is griefing and taking away damage from your DH and your mage, who need those guys to funnel. all you should be doing is spreading your demon bolts on the ads while just pumping the boss, pumping the boss. And if you got like, a big stack and you got like, 8 imps that are about to die, okay, sure, implode, just for the fact that you're getting refunds. I also forgot to mention this previously when I was talking about our rotation. Your imps are, sorry, your demon bolts are the reason you implode right after your tyrant. Not only because you get expendables, right? You get your damage 10% here, but you're also doing this because you're getting refunds, right? Every time one of your imps dies, there's a chance that you get a free demon bolt proc, and they are very, very big when you're doing AoE damage because the more demon bolt procs you get, the more doom dots you get on the pack. The more doom procs you get on everything, the more uncapped AoE explosion damage you're getting, right? That's another reason why you also want to implode after your Tyrant, because you get 1 or 2, potentially even 3 refunds of your implosion. Sometimes you get unlucky, you get none, which is kind of depressing, but ideally you get 1 or 2, and that's instantly 2 more waiting CDs are going to explode for doom damage. That's going to really pump your AoE damage, especially on big pulls. So yeah, always Tyrant. Sorry, I kind of went back to that, but I forgot to mention I wanted to kind of reiterate even more as to why you are imploding after your Tyrant window in AoE settings. But that's pretty much it, guys. I've covered the stats. I've covered kind of the main ability rotation, why Demon Bolt is important, why you should have your dogs and everything summoned within your Tyrant window, how to do. I've kind of gave you 2 examples of how to do your DPS window. Aim for 10 imps. If you only get 7 and these guys are about to expire, send the Tyrant. It's more important to have these guys alive than having the max amount of imps. Implode right away on an AoE pack, and after you implode, you get the 10% bunch. Then you do Demonic Strength. This is going to be 10% even stronger. It's going to chunk a lot of damage in your group, which is awesome. And then, yeah, you're Tyranting and you're basically imploding as things are dying, essentially. Single target's even easier. You just don't implode, so you just summon, try to get to your 10 imps, you're Tyrant, and you're just doing your rotation. In terms of tips, that's about it. This season, of course, you still have a couple of gates and stuff you can do. Like for floodgates, you can drop a gate and then just drop it in when you're doing those ads. So if you get rooted, it's not a big deal. You just take the damage. But if you do that and then someone starts casting and puts that fire puddle on you, then you can port to it, and at least you're not in the puddle. That will save your life a few times. So just trying in the habit of dropping this is handy. Um, and then there's also a couple of gate skips. It's not as used like season 2, but like just to make things easier, like in Floodgate, you can kind of port up to where those 2 shredders are instead of people running around. So many people always body pull that one pack. I don't know why. It's not hard just to hug the corner, but people do it. So just make a gate, make their life easier, make your life easier on bosses too. Have little gates across for people anytime there's any type of mobility on a boss fight. Just get in the habit of dropping this at the start of a fight anywhere, so people can just take it, move back and forth. It makes their life easier. Just do it. And then I guess I can go into macros real quickly, maybe before I end off this video. Um, I don't do too much. I have a mouse over for my kick, but that also applies if you already use it in settings, so you can just use your normal kick. The special healthstone, you're going to use it with soul burn. So I just have a slash cast soul burn, slash use demonic healthstone. The reason you do this, because it makes your healthstone go from a 35% heal to a 70% heal, which is completely monstrous. It's right here, right? Increased healing of your health by 30%, and it gives you 20% more HP. So it's almost like a lay on hands, right? It's like 70% of your health pool. You have an enormous health pool, right? It's like over like a 12 million heal almost. It's pretty insane. So I always wait till I'm like half health or 40, 30%. Any type of like rotting damage. I can think about Floodgate because I just did it. But when you're on the boss, you're ticking, and then you just boom, healthstone to full. If you're in comms, you can say I got healthstone here. You can let me bleed a bit. I got my own health. That's, I think, a big tip also as warlocks is watching your health pool all the time. So you're getting good value of healthstones. This is a 1 minute cooldown. 1 minute. You get a lay on hands basically on yourself all the time. So you can really, like, you see cast about to go off. You have no other shield. The second you get hit, you top yourself full from healthstone. Even if there's 2 casts on you, they're slightly distinct, you can get hit, heal yourself, and hit again. Like, you really save your life if you have the proper gameplay mechanics and being aware of what's going on around you. It's an incredible self-heal. Then you got your little shield, obviously, your death pack. It's not as strong as it used to be, but it's still good, right? A little bit of a shield for your health pool, and then your unending resolve. Some people run the 40% DR. I run it reduced cooldown, and for 25% DR, because 25% is enough. If you're dying with 25% DR, you're doing something wrong, and you're just getting more cast with the reduced cooldown, which I find is more important in keys, especially on some bosses where you're rotting. Having a reduced CD on this, you get an extra unending resolve, especially on like plague bosses where you're rotting. This will save you having reduced instead of having one super bigger wall, but it's a 3-minute CD and you don't get an extra value of it during an encounter. So I would run that town specifically to reduce the CD. Yeah, that's the main macro is the self-healing one. I have also like for my gate. Let me see if I have it here. Demonic gateway here. Same thing. I just do soul burn and then demonic gateway, cast them together, so it makes your port instant cast. Right? You don't have to hard cast it. So even if you're running somewhere and like some crazy mechanic, you're in a bad spot, you can just instantly drop this and port right across, and it'll save you. Ooh, maybe one more tip also. So when you're mounted, okay, and you have your pet out, if you just take this like this and you land somewhere, your pet sometimes won't go with you, and you'll pull. Your pet will like run around this weird way and pull. I'm thinking like hauls. It's awful for that. But if you go on your mount, before you take this guy will always port with you. Otherwise, sometimes he's going to just run around the whole dungeon and pull a bunch of stuff if you're not mounted. In theory, if you have a max size gate, he should port with you every time as well. That's what they say should happen, but I have a few times where it was maxed and I take it and he still doesn't run around and kill me. So I always just mount up now if I have to take my own gate and then take the gate. It ensures that this little man is not going to pull something he shouldn't and rip your key. I've learned this the hard way many times. It's very depressing. I don't know why Blizzard can't just fix basic UIs on artificial pets, but here we are in 2025 with the same problems we've had for 20 years. But anyways, it's okay. I'm not tilted at all, obviously. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I kind of explained the main stuff. This is the new build, basically I'm running for almost every key. Nothing, like I said, has changed too much, but I want to give you a little bit of an overview. Correct about the implosion, when to do it. I see a lot of people talking about this, a lot of confusion. You implode always in AoE setting as soon as you Tyrant, and then after the implosion, you get the 10% increased damage from expendables. Then you use demonic strength, maximum value, and then spreading your bolts by having a Mouseover, so you can spread these out. And also works for implosion, so you don't implode something. 2 little tips to really min-max your damage profile. And then you're gonna honestly like demo it does incredible damage. If you're playing it correctly, there is like a lot to maintain. I think it's a fairly high skill cap class in comparison to some others. Oh, this guy just PI'd me. Thank you, buddy. You get a lot more, you get a lot of reward for the damage you can output if you play it efficiently. But you gotta track your imps, you gotta track your demon bolts, a lot of, I call it IQ, but a lot of thinking while you're doing it, and making sure you're casting your demons off CD, so you're not wasting, like sometimes I'll even dogs, guys. I'll use my Charhound even before in combat, and I'll only get like 10 seconds instead of the 15-second window of dogs, but I do it anyways, because I get some value before Tyrant instead of not doing it at all and just holding. And if you only attacks for 5 seconds, that's 5 seconds of fire taking damage, right? So you want to just always try to use these off CDs. It's very important to line up with your Tyrant windows. But hope you guys is helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to see me cover something else, or if there's something I missed you want to ask a little bit more about, comment in the below, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Other than that, if you're Canadian, happy Thanksgiving. If not, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.